Welcome to the February 2025 episode of the NUN Local Podcast, all about Netherthorpe, Upperthorpe and Neepsend in Sheffield. In this episode, I'm going to go through some of the things that have been happening in Netherthorpe, Upperthorpe and Neepsend in January, and some of the things that are coming up in February that you might want to go to. There's all kinds of different events and bits of news. And if you have any news or events coming up that are relevant to people in Netherthorpe, Upperthorpe and Neepsend, this hyperlocal podcast could be exactly how you need to reach them. So do get in touch if you've got anything you want to share. And to find out more about the podcast, you can always head over to nunlocal.news to sign up to make sure you get an email every time there's a new episode and all of that good stuff. So in January, the Netherthorpe and Edward Street Tenants and Residents Association had a meeting with artists, Peaches and Alistair Findle, and a group of students who are going to design and paint murals on the underpass to the tram stop in Netherthorpe, which I think is a great idea. It's one of those spots that just could do with cheering up a bit, I think. Now, if the name Peaches in particular is familiar to you, she is one of the artists who created the gorgeous mural down in Upperthorpe and also the giant kingfisher in the city centre. Her work is absolutely stunning and I'm thrilled that she's going to be involved in the Netherthorpe underpass painting. Also in Netherthorpe this month, there is a resident of one of the high-rise blocks called Peter McLaughlin, and he has been trying to get the council to take more seriously suicide prevention in tower blocks in Sheffield. There have been 2 deaths in recent years of women in falls from tower blocks, and he has been trying to get the council leader, Tom Hunt, to put a high-rise suicide prevention policy in place. He has been trying to get the council to pay attention for some time and sent a freedom of information request to find that there is still no policy. Peter McLaughlin has been arguing that the council has not made enough effort to involve tenants, especially those from marginalised groups, in the forum, in the high-rise forum that exists already, especially tenants who don't have internet access. This is based on reporting in the Sheffield Star, and it sounds like a really important issue. If something can be done to prevent suicides in this way, it feels remiss that the council is not yet doing anything. In the Sheffield Star again, they have published 18 photos of Upperthorpe through the years. It's really interesting to see what the area has looked like over time. I will link to the article about Peter McLaughlin and to the photos of Upperthorpe over the years and any other link I mention at nunlocal.news. News in Neepsend this month is there are 2 things. Well, there's more than that. One is that people are freaking out over a bus gate. That related a bit to the conversation I had with Neepsend Social a few months ago on this podcast, where the traffic changes are being done for good reason, but not everybody believes that they're being done in the best way. And the bus gate, people are starting to get their first fines basically for driving through the bus gate, and that is causing some tension. But the 2 bits of Neepsend news I want to talk about one is there is a new upmarket events venue in Neepsend. It is called the Victoria. It's on Rowland Street and it's got multiple rooms with capacity for 500. This is a site that was built in 1884 and has been used for different purposes over the years, but now it is the Victoria. The other bit of Neepsend news I want to talk about is a new micropub. Permission has been granted for a new micropub. And what's especially interesting about this is that the building that's going to become this micropub will sell specialised bottled beers. The building used to be an electric substation, but before that it was cells for the police station that was next to it. So it's not a listed building, but it's considered historic and it's got some heritage significance. I had to look this up, but the building is described as a really good example of something called vernacular design. And so I looked up what vernacular design is. And what it is a kind of architecture that makes a point of using local traditions and local resources so that it's really dedicated to meeting local needs. So they are different. Vernacular designs are different everywhere, and they're influenced by not just local materials, by geography, by history, but also the culture in the area. And so they might use local materials, they might focus on local traditions, and the aspect of vernacular design that was notable in this former substation and former police cells is the Sheffield corner, the traditional Sheffield corner. And so permission has been granted now to transform the building into a micropub, and it will be really interesting to see how that goes. It will be near the old workshop and near Yellow Arch, and so it sounds like a great area to put something like that. And so what's coming up in February for Netherthorpe, Upperthorpe and Neepsend? There's a whole load of events. So on the 7th and 8th of February, there is the 90th Peddler Market. So that's 5 till 11 on the Friday, 12 till 11 on the Saturday. That is the place to go if you want a variety of good street food, some interesting craft beers and music and stalls. Cutlery Works deserves a section of its own. It's got tons coming up in February. If you are looking for a workshop to make Chinese New Year lanterns, there's one of those on the 8th of Feb. Also on the 8th of Feb is a lion dance performance. There's a calligraphy workshop. On the 16th of Feb, there's a free Valentine's Day biscuit decorating workshop for kids. There is also for adults a paper rose workshop the same day. There's a toddler sensory adventure on the 20th, going on a bear hunt. There's t-shirt printing workshops for kids. There's absolutely tons going on at Cutlery Works, and so I will link to their events page at nunlocal.news. And now let's talk about the Gardener's Rest on Neepsend Lane. Again, lots of interesting things coming up. They have Ukulele Sunday, which is the second Sunday of every month. On the 10th, they have Irish folk music. On the 12th of Feb, they've got more folk music with Andy and Jackie. On the 16th of Feb, they've got John Keane. On the 17th, they've got Guerrilla Poetry. More ukulele on the 23rd. And on the 26th is the final folk session of the month with Mo and John. So the Gardener's Rest, your place for folk music. Now, one of my faves, Church Temple of Fun on Rutland Way. They also have a lot of stuff going on in February. They have live jazz on Valentine's Day. They have sip and paint parties. They have a Galentine's Day. They have life drawing classes. If you want to draw dogs, that's the place to go. A ceramics workshop, all accompanied by vegan food, vegan drinks, and really unique surroundings. Yellow Arch Studios, as you would probably predict, has a lot on in February. There are lots of different events. I will just pick a few. There's the Planet Zog Valentine's Ball. There's McDermott and North, which is free entry. But the one that stood out to me, which will show my age, this is coming up in March, is Chesney Hawkes. Now, if you too went on a Catholic retreat in the 90s with your school, you might have had to sit through his one famous song in the form of a meditation. And if so, you have my sympathy. It's not a bad song. But yeah, I would be quite intrigued to see what Chesney Hawkes is up to these days. Now, I mentioned Neepsend Social Club and Canteen earlier, having interviewed them in a previous episode, they have all kinds of things going on. They have every Tuesday a bullseye quiz, which he talked about when I spoke to him. And there is drag bingo with Bipolar Abdul leading the charge, which sounds like a riot. I know one of my friends is involved in that, and I'm sure it would be great. And they have a great Sunday lunch and lovely food. Speaking of Sunday lunches, the Great Sheffield Roast at the Mowbray. The Great Sheffield Roast was a runner-up in the Observer Food Monthly Awards for the best Sunday lunch, which they are rightly proud of. And in February, they have Great Sheffield Roasts on the 9th and the 23rd of February. There are vegetarian options as well, if you are not up for chicken, and there are kids' versions. They say the menu is everything we believe to be the perfect Sheffield roast. Servings are plentiful, and dishes are created with only the best local ingredients. Even just the fact that they refer to proper gravy on their menu lets you know that this is going to be a good Sunday roast. And finally, there is the Neepsend Craft Beer Festival, which is on the 28th of Feb and the 1st of March. The team behind the Peddler Market, which I mentioned earlier, is behind this. It's in the Peddler Warehouse on Burton Road. And it will feature Sheffield breweries, including Neepsend Brew Co., Triple Point, Bradfield, Duality, Tapped, Avidale and Blue Bee. Sheffield has some really good craft beer going on, and I love that the Neepsend Craft Beer Festival is there to celebrate and showcase some of that. So there you have a roundup of what's been going on, some of what's been going on in Neepsend, Upperthorpe and Netherthorpe in the last month, and some of what will be going on in the coming month. If you have anything to add, if you have anything you would like to get a mention in the March or even April episode, do drop me a line. You can find all the contact details and everything you need at nunlocal.news. Thank you for listening to NUN Local, and do subscribe at nunlocal.news to get every episode out on the 1st of every month for more hyperlocal Netherthorpe, Upperthorpe and Neepsend news. NUN Local is a project of Scribble and Bloom, a social enterprise created to encourage self-expression as a way to improve lives. Find out more about Scribble and Bloom Community Interest Company and its other projects, including zine making workshops and easy read translations, at scribbleandbloom.org.uk.